This is the Post Shift Podcast, a raw look at the hospitality industry.
Welcome to another episode of the Post Shift Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Shawn Soole. It is my 99th episode. I cannot believe it. I probably should have hit this last year, but I missed some episodes while I was in Singapore. This Friday is huge for me. Number 100 is, of course, the legendary Jeffrey Morgenthaler, who is a good friend of mine, so I'm just absolutely stoked for you guys to hear this episode. It was a lot of fun doing this over the phone with him in Portland. Really epic episode, super organic. I've known him guy for about 10 years now. So yeah, this week I've been doing some like how to start a podcast and do this sort of stuff. I've been on Reddit a lot lately. Reddit's been good to me in the way of traffic to the website via cocktail recipes and podcasts and whatnot. But I'm part of a few groups, and I find it very difficult in this day and age how many people under 30, or I've read posts from people who are over 30, feeling that like they're lost. And I know that in the US is a little bit different than it is in Australia, like where I was growing up. University's not held to such a high degree. Well, when I was growing up, university was not held to such a high degree. My father dropped out of high school when he was in grade 8 and almost got put in jail and juvenile prison and whatnot, and ended up in the Navy. My mum dropped out of high school when she was 15. Both very, very clever people in their own special ways, but they never forced us too much to go into university per se. They always wanted the best for us, so I feel like I got a little bit of a mixed thing there, because most of my brothers and sisters have gone off to university and done very well. When I left high school, I did very well in high school, and I got a full scholarship off to university to do a bachelor's in psychology, which is pretty much what I do now with bartending and mentorship and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. Psychology is still a very big thing for it. My younger brother went off to university and got a master's in criminal psychology. My sister got a PhD in philosophy. My three younger brothers, all went off and did something more like along my lines. But it was very interesting. Because I was the eldest of the family. My mother really always like she felt a little bit disappointed in me not going off to university, and I left home and I went and worked in the hospitality industry, and I always felt like she was a little bit disappointed in how that sort of played out for me. Because she felt like I was worth a lot more, and it took a solid 10 years, like pretty much up until I left Australia and came to Canada, that my mother would ask me when I was going to get a real job as a bartender. But I think the root of what I want to sort of get from here is that I try and reply to a lot of these posts and career advice and bartender advice and stuff like that, and a lot of the times I just ask if people are happy, and I think that's the root of it all, is that I think you got to chase happiness in life, and I think you don't necessarily need to worry about other people's opinions of you or what you're doing to create your own life, because those people can come and go as they please. Like this is the big problem. Even our family, we can be very close to that family, but one little screw up and all of a sudden you're ostracized from your family. And I think if you're doing things for other people and not for yourself, you sort of can get led down a path that really doesn't lead to the happiness of yourself personally. I've talked to a couple of older people who are going on retirement now, and they fucking hated their jobs for 25, 30 years. Like, it does my head in to think that to do something for 30 years that you weren't happy with or didn't like, just blows my mind. I'm fortunate. I have taken hospitality and expanded and diversified what I do. Everything I do is still hospitality centric, but what I do is very diverse in the distribution, the bar tools, the BC Spirits, the podcast, the consulting, all this sort of stuff. It's all still very hospitality centric, so I'm just purely in love and happy with the hospitality industry. And I've done tons of episodes. I've done episodes on motherfucking patience. I've done episodes on getting what you want. I've done episodes on the long game, taking your time, all these things. If you're under 20 or under 30, you don't know what you want to do, don't fucking worry about it. Don't stress about it. There are people out there that, like I said, are retiring next year, and they fucking hated the last 30 years of their life. Now, do you really want to look back when you're retiring? You might have all the money in the bank and the flashy car and the fucking houses and stuff, and have hated the last 30 years of your life, and then try and recapture happiness for the last 20, 30, 40 years of your life. These are big things, and this is not just a one-off, like, simple, like, this only happens infrequently. This happens all the time. And honestly, if you're feeling lost and not quite sure how to sort of take the next step, really knuckle down on, like, what makes you happy in life. It may be the weirdest, nichest little thing. You can still work at a job that you may not like, but if you can put some time and effort and investment into something that you really love, like, if you love gardening and want to be a landscaper, be a landscaper. If you love food and you want to cook, then, like, do blogs. Like, there is so much stuff that you can do to expand and really roll into things that make you happy long term. And people who say, like, oh, I don't have the money to do that, like, stay in the job that you've got, but focus up. Like, don't come home and just watch Netflix. Focus up and be passionate when you come home to do something on a blog, videos, YouTube channel, all these things, podcasts. But if you really want to understand how you're not alone, please go to things like Reddit, go to forums like Reddit, look up career advice and or guidance, and go through and look at how other people are feeling. And there's people who have gone through university, got PhDs, who are in their mid-20s or late 20s and have no idea what they're going to do because they've spent the last 7 years devoted to something that they realize at the end of it all that they fucking hate it. My younger brother did the same thing, did a fucking master's and then is now a graphic designer. Like, these things happen, but chasing happiness, chasing work-life balance, you've got time. I always laugh because high school seemed to drag on forever. Like, the 5 years of high school just seemed to be a laborious task. And now 5 years, after you turn 30, it just goes like that. And it's boom, boom, boom. But you can achieve so much and you can do so much. So this is my advice this week is, you want to start a podcast, you want to start consulting, you can watch the episodes behind. Listen to Jeffrey Morgenthaler's episode this Friday. Awesome episode. Really, really loved it. Some great advice there. He also does a great seminar at the Poor Symposium, which I'm going to post underneath his episode. But guys, if you feel lost, you're not alone. There's tons of people out there that feel lost. You just got to find your happiness. You got to find your happy place. It's very much like Happy Gilmore. Find your happy place and you'll succeed. And on that note, I'm going to go back to doing how-tos next week, I promise. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. Thank you very much for the support of the last 100 episodes. Many, many more to come. So have a good week, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Post Shifters. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you're listening, whatever platform you're on, give me a good rating, subscribe, listen along. I'm going to keep going. I really enjoy sitting down with people and learning where they're from, what they did, and how they got to where they were. So if you love it, give me a good 5 stars. If you don't, give me 1 and I'll try harder.